Welcome back to some Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, as you'll see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we're having a late night episode. As per usual. There was no D&D. It was cancelled this week. In retrospect, not in retrospect, I didn't know. Maybe I could have done it today. I think it would have been... Well, actually, you know what? While my throat has basically recovered, I'm basically... the mucus is unbelievable right now. I literally gone through an entire tissue box. Not just today, but like over these past 3 days. It's a little bit insane, I would say. But good evening, everyone. I'm here with a late night broadcast. I hope we can make it through this. Right now, Fawnhallow is 12:36 AM on what should be Wednesday, the 24th of September, 2025. But yeah, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about... I'm not really sure, to be honest. We're such a sort of vibing. I don't really have anything else to talk about from that day trip we did. It was... most of it was basically just sort of covered. It was a really nice time. Yeah. I've been... Anyone else tried out that new Honkai Star Rail mode? I forgot what it's called, but it's the Stygian Onslaught equivalent from Genshin Impact. It's really hard. Like, obviously it's like it's basically a character and investment check for a lot of it. And embarrassingly so, I managed to get 3 stars on overnight, and then I got 2 stars on the final king piece. Do I think I can get 3 stars? I think when I get Ebonite and like properly built, I think possibly, but I think it's going to be quite difficult. It's not an easy fight, mind you. But it's something which very much demands a lot of vertical investment, and I tend to have very horizontal investment. But I mean, it's nice to be able to flex. But apparently, the thing I find most amusing about that is it's kind of like a whalish sort of like gacha check. Sorry, this is the gacha talk, which we talk about in the first 5 minutes. But there's like 3 borders you can get, like a gold, silver, bronze, depending on how fast you do it. But apparently, if you do it in the fastest thing possible 0 cycle, you get like a rainbow platinum border. That seems impossible for me to get. Unless I mean, technically I could get it. I think if I pulled for E6 Ebonite, I'm not going to do that, obviously. But I mean, apparently E6 Ebonite is insanely strong. So this boss was pretty good for so I could, if I wanted to, get a shiny rainbow border for 1 patch. But yeah, apart from that, I've mostly just sort of been chilling, to be honest. I've not really been recording games, mainly because I have episode which is going to come out tomorrow. So the only thing I need to record is a Patrick's Parabox and 1 episode of 9 Souls. And I was basically waiting for myself to be over my illness to really do it, and it actually worked out this time. Like, thankfully, not COVID this time. So I actually will be able to record it without having a sore throat, which is good. Be our core as it's wait, I didn't even remember what I was gonna say. Be our core as. Otherwise, it would have been a better effort, to record. I mean, it's not like I can't record now, but it's more like the timing of everything, What else? Project Sky, we see the new anniversary Bloomfest cards that are coming out. They're kind of nice, I do like them, but I'm not like enamoured with them, I think, as much as I thought. But I don't know, maybe I need to see the full art. And plus, I don't have any currency right now because I pulled off a Tamagotchi thing, which I will say, but I will actually manage to get all the Tamagotchi cards. And I forgot that's what I should be doing right now. Via Quarters. On my latest temple, I managed to get a Miku card, which means I can now spark the Kuchipachi one with Nene in. So, we're living our good gacha life right now. What should we talk about though? Good question. I'm still trying to think of general things to talk about nowadays. Apparently, Apparently, one thing I learned, which I did not know was a thing at all, but I vaguely heard about, was apparently it was meant to be like a rapture. I don't know if necessarily it was today or if it's like already happened or something, but it was meant to be some sort of rapture based event. I don't know really what that's meant to mean or how that's defined, but according to some, this is it. And it makes me think, you know, there have been a lot of sort of like doomsday end of the world things, which I think certainly maybe I paid more attention to when I was a kid because we talked about it in school. The one I always think about was December 4th, 2012, sorry, was a theoretical end of a Mayan calendar. Maybe not even theoretical, maybe it was the literal end of a Mayan calendar, I don't know. Which always, you know, didn't just strike me as a bit weird, was a bit weird. Because it's like, you know, I didn't really think a Mayan calendar had an end, you know, I didn't know. I would have thought it would be a defined sort of date system rather than necessarily like, oh, we're going to define it for this many years. But if you don't know, I don't know, some guy was like, oh, 2012, 4th December, that is the end of the Mayan calendar, that is when the apocalypse is going to happen, that is when the world's going to end. Did people believe it? No, not really, but the thing I remember about it is we were talking about it in secondary school, outside the library, in a little alcove, which we always hung out at for, well, some reason. I don't even know why we were allowed there necessarily, but it was just basically like this slanted window thing, and then there was like these shelves, no, not shelves, it's like platform and stuff, and on the other alcove people would always put their bags, and then in this alcove, whatever, like this group of people who did not later on become like my closest friends or something, but I was still friendly with, and I hung out with a decent amount, would hang around there. And I remember we were talking about the Mayan calendar, and then we were just like, oh yeah, when's it gonna happen? It's like, oh, 4th of December 2012. And then I just remember one of the people being like, that's my birthday. Sorry, not 4th of December. It wasn't 4th of December. That's actually one of my current friends' birthdays. But that's why 4th of December's in my head. I think it was 20th of December. Let's see. End of Mayan calendar 2012. Or 21st of December. Obviously, by the fact we're still talking, unless this is some very grand hallucination, we're still here, living. In 2012, the end of the world did not happen, which I'm thankful for. You know, it would kind of suck. Certainly a lot of other bad things probably have happened since then, as they do most of the time, but still. So I was just going for my Google Photos, because I was like, I wonder what I did, if I have any photos back then. I don't. The only photo I have back then is of this card I made for my friend where I drew Fizz. His 15th birthday. Wonder what happened to it. A lot of random photos I've got back here, hey? Anyway. What I was gonna say is that at the end of the world, like, there's been quite a few, like, prophesized end of the worlds, right? In a lifetime. I'm trying to, like, what, I mean, Y2K was not an end of the world thing, but it was definitely, like, all the, what's the word? Things were gonna break, because that was actually an actual legitimate problem, and it was because it was thanks to the tireless work, I suppose, of all the IT people who actually managed to solve things, fixed it, I suppose, before it became an actual issue. But if they didn't do anything, it would have been like a widespread, terrible situation. What other sort of big ones have there been that I remember? 23rd of September, 24th of September. This one I'm learning about. I didn't even know about this one. South African pastor prophesies the biblical rapture where Jesus ascends true believers. Tribulation. Rapture talk on TikTok. Okay, so that's what people were always talking about. Because I was like, why is it happening in so much, or why is everyone talking about a rapture which happened? And I was like, I missed this. When did this happen? But oh yeah, but 2021 for the end of my Mayan calendar. But then I remember when it happened and passed, nothing happened. The person who did it was like, oh, we actually predicted it wrong. It's actually going to happen. I can't remember, like a year later, but everyone forgot about it, to be honest. I'm trying to look at the other ones. Oh, 2017. There would be a rapture one. I don't remember this one very well, but vaguely. 21st, 2012. There we go. This one seems like a very big one. I don't know why everyone was so obsessed with this one, necessarily. Mayan history and calendar. Like, obviously, these are all bogus stuff. Like, they're all what conspiracy theories. For the sake of being conspiracy theories, like, they're all completely pointless to even, like, consider or think about. If the apocalypse does happen, I think there'll probably be very obvious signs, like maybe there's a giant meteor coming towards us or something. It's not going to be prophesized necessarily by some ancient civilization, but that sort of hook does make for a great story, like a sci-fi story or something, being like, whoa, everything's going to happen on this, Maybe you can make an Animal Crossing apocalypse prediction. The last episode of my Animal Crossing channel, it's going to be 2012. Oh my gosh, no. That's in 2 episodes. Okay, that's not gonna happen. But I don't know, something very compelling, I suppose, about the sort of fire and brimstone, which is slated to happen. And if anything, it's too easy to make doomsday predictions. It's too easy just to be like, the world's gonna end on XYZ day because of XYZ calamity happening. I want someone to follow through, actually put their money where their mouth is and be like, yeah, I'm gonna make a world. Okay, obviously I'm joking, don't do that. But now, which is maybe my brain is completely fried or something, every time I talk about the apocalypse, I can only think about Homestuck. Because it's like, Homestuck made such a portion of my life. I think it overlapped, I suppose, when I read Homestuck with the 2012 apocalypse things, and there were so many jokes and memes being like, oh, who's going to play Spurb on 2012, 21st of December? Spurb is a game we play in Homestuck which causes the end of the world or the universe. There were just so many jokes regarding that. So now I think the apocalypse is intrinsically tied in my brain to Homestuck in 2012 when I think about that. I mean, I say it all the time, Homestuck, fantastic, a fun thing to theory craft and world build in the world for. But yeah. Anyway, you might be like, when do I think the apocalypse is going to happen? Probably with like the heat death of the universe or something. So, not in my lifetime. Unless I become immortal during my lifespan, in which case, then yes, in my lifetime. But I don't really plan on doing that anytime soon. So I think I'm good. I think I'm not gonna burn in fire and brimstone. I'm not gonna get raptured, or not gonna get raptured. I guess rapture isn't that crazy an apocalypse thing, right? Because isn't that just all the believers or something go to ascend to heaven? Is everyone else just like sort of left on Earth? How does that work? Maybe we'll die. I don't know. It feels like the nature of apocalypse is everyone needs to die some way or another, which was a bit morbid, but I mean it is the literal apocalypse. Anyway, the apocalypse ain't happening. At least not for a while, so, I don't think we need to be particularly worried about all this business. It'll happen, probably eventually, but not like on a whatchamacallit way. Not in a way that anyone could predict. I don't think, at least. It would be interesting. Can you imagine being a person who actually genuinely knows when the apocalypse is going to happen? No one believes you. That's the sort of it, People just give me like, yeah, okay, right, sure. Apocalypse is going to happen XYZ day. And you're like, no. It actually will happen. I know it's going to happen. You'd be kind of doomed, if anything, right? What would you do? How would you genuinely convince people the apocalypse is going to happen? I think part of the thing is, like, it doesn't even matter, because, like, how are you going to stop an apocalypse? You know? That's insanity. What could you possibly do to stop the apocalypse, you know? I don't know. I'm actually genuinely trying to think. If I somehow got a revelation, I knew for sure, 100% certainty, somehow it was empirically provable. I guess it would have to be like I time travel forward. Or no, I see the apocalypse happening, and I manage to time travel backwards to before the events unfolded. How would I ever convince people the apocalypse is coming and to prepare and stop for it? Like, genuinely, I don't think you could. There's too many Boy Who Cried Wolf scenarios, and it's such a ridiculous situation that how could you ever convince people that the apocalypse is happening? I don't know. Like, obviously, you just sort of go everywhere telling people about it, but like, without some sort of empirical proof, you really got an uphill battle, don't you? What could you possibly do? You'd basically have to find some way to prove it, or some way of knowing the future, right? But if you only got limited thing, like if you only had that vision, I think if I had that vision, to be honest, I wouldn't believe it myself. Like, you know, an omniscient deity, I suppose, could legitimately show me the end of a world, and I'd be like, I don't believe it. I must be going insane. I'm hallucinating or something. I don't know. I think it's just a doom scenario. If the apocalypse is going to happen, there's no point in warning anyone about it. How is anyone going to believe it, you know? I'm kind of joking, but maybe you've got a better idea than I do. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been dear darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again proper now. It's farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.